Happy Mother's Day. I hope that all of you are having a good time. Didn't you like that song from Celine? I like her. I don't know what's going on with the sound system. It was doing fine this morning. So just turn it off. It's okay? It's buzzing. Or maybe it's the monitor. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, had a busy week. Seems like every time I try to take a day off, something comes up. My daughter, who lives in California, Melissa, or Missy, or now she's called Mel. I'll never call her Mel. I guess these kids nowadays, they want to change their name. So it's hard, you know, when people talk to me about my daughter and say Mel is something, something, something. I go, what's with these kids nowadays? But anyways, I had a chance to go down there yesterday. She only had time to come for the weekend. So I went down there about 12:30. I got there and then was able to spend all afternoon. And then she wanted to go visit with a friend she hadn't seen since high school, and that was Sarah Robinson Brandt, who is now married and has kids. And so they went through their girly thing and then came back and had a few more hours to spend with her, but didn't get home until 10:30 last night. So I'm a little tired, but it was a great time. So again, Happy Mother's Day. I don't know, anybody know who this lady is? Nobody? Well, this is a pretty famous lady, and maybe you might know that name. Anybody knows that name? She's the one that wrote the song for the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Now you know that name? Oh yeah, I know, I see some of these puzzled look in your faces and you go, who in the world is Julia Ward Howe? You know, but then when you hear that song, the Battle Hymn of the Republic, mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord, man. She must have had some relationship with the Lord writing that song. Well, she's the first, as far as I know, looking up on the computer, the internet, to write a Mother's Day proclamation, so I thought I'd share that with you. It says, "Arise, then, women of this day, arise, all women who have hearts. Whether our baptism be of water or of tears, say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands will not come to us reeking with carnage, for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We, the women of one country, will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow and the animal at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home. For great and earnesty of counsel, let them first meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them solely take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace, each bearing after his own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God. In the name of womanhood and humanity, I earnestly ask that the General Congress of Women without limit of nationality may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient, and at the earliest period consistent with its objects, to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, the great and general interests of peace." Well, that's one woman's perspective of motherhood. But you know, how many of you have seen this phrase before? Anybody? All of you. Some of you women not raising your hands. Maybe you said you're just being humble. But isn't that true, that behind every great man is a great woman? And I think about in fact, just this past week, you know, with Devin in the hospital, and how her mom, who lives in Kansas, came up, and her husband's mom came up, and actually the husband and wife, both sides of the family, father and mother, both sides, came to spend some time with Devin as she was struggling, going in and out of the hospital. And you know, there's something about that relationship between a mother and her daughter. Maybe even more so than a mother and her son, but you could see that tenderness inside, that the mother seems like the mother was hurting more than Devin was actually feeling the pain, but just that relationship between a mom and a daughter. And maybe some of you didn't have that kind of relationship with your mom. But the thing is that, you know, God has given woman a special place in the home. And I don't know why, but it seems, you know, being in the flower business for many years, and it seems like every year, Mother's Day is the biggest holiday of all the year. And, you know, these mothers get all these flowers. And the thing is about Mother's Day is that whether the mother is alive or dead, they still get flowers. So, you know, if the mother's passed away, then they get some kind of flowers for the grave. But come Father's Day, guess what? You know what we get? A lot of times, yeah, John. A lot of times we get nothing, so I don't think that's fair. Maybe I need to turn it, well, that's soft right there. But the thing is that, why is that? Well, maybe it's because mothers have a special place in everybody's heart. No matter if your mother treated you good or not, she's still your mother. And she brought you up. She brought you into this world. And I think about my mom. And you know, my mom's, what, 91 years old now? And I think about it. I mean, she's a special woman. You know, she likes to celebrate 2 birthdays. She has one in January and one in August. She celebrates both of them. She expects gifts or a call on both days. I mean, she wants to celebrate both. I don't blame her, because if I had 2 birthdays, I'd celebrate both too. I know some of you women don't even like to celebrate the one you have, right? Because you don't want to say how old you are. But the thing is, every time I go back now, you know, my mom being that old and been in the hospital, you know, has a special place in my heart. And I can remember, well, how many of you went to see the movie Soul Surfer? Fantastic. If you haven't seen the movie, you gotta go see it. It's about a girl who's a surfer, and she gets bitten by a shark. And she actually learns how to surf again. And me being a surfer, I mean, I used to go surfing every day, know what it's like to get out there and try and fight the waves going out to the lineup. And I have hard enough time, especially when I go back to Hawaii and visit. I just don't like to surf. It's not a big thing anymore because it just takes too much work. You're out of condition and you're paddling out. And by the time you get out there, you're too tired to do anything, so you want to come back in already. But here's this girl who has only one arm. She's determined. And she goes out there and just, I mean, competes. So those of you who have been to the movie, the first contest, the competition there she was in, I lived right across the street. All I had to do was just walk across the street, and was my home. Now the last part of the movie, there's this Waimea Bay. It's where the competition's at. But if you don't know surfing and you don't know anything about the type of waves Waimea Bay has, Waimea Bay is known for the Eddie Aikau surfing tournament, and they usually have it once a year when the big waves are up, you know, 30-feet waves. But those waves are just, you know, basically a huge wave, but it's not this tube-like pipeline. Have you heard of pipeline or pipilini? You know, that's a joke. Pipilini is really pipeline. So don't let those guys when you go to Hawaii fool you to try to get you to pronounce the Hawaiian word of the word pipeline. But anyways, the last wave, she's surfing this wave, and this is this perfect tube. She gets totally barreled. That wave's just throwing over her. I mean, it just looks like a tube. But that's not why male pay, it's a pipeline. So when you go to the movie, watch for that, okay? The use of the phrase received a boost in 1985 with the release of the euphemic song, Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves. Now, there was a time when they used to say that behind every great man, there had to be a great woman. But in these times of change, you know that it's no longer true. So we're coming out of the kitchen because there's something we forgot to say to you. We say sisters are doing it for themselves. And you know, I think about, you know, the women's liberation movement and all the things that's been going on with that. And you know, we can go all the way to the, back to the beginning where it talks about the woman has the desire for her husband. You know, and how she, from the very beginning she tried to assert the authority of the man in the family. Well, we know that today women have been liberated, right, and freed. And you know, the thing that I think about is it used to be, even when I was growing up, there was this thing called ethics, or what was that? Etiquette. And I remember learning in school that you're supposed to, the man is supposed to open the door for the woman, and you know, or allow the woman to go first, or pay for the meal at the restaurant. But then all of a sudden women wanted to take control, and now she doesn't want to have the door open. Well, I'm not saying all women, because I know some of you women still enjoy that etiquette. But you know, now I'm even with the man, right? So now I want to pay my own way when we go to the restaurant. Now, does that make sense to you? How many of you women do that? I'm going to pay. Huh? Does that sound like you're getting, I guess, top, you know, the authority? I don't know what you call it. I don't know what it is. It just does. I mean, I just don't understand that. How come women think they have to be, you know, equal with men? Because before they were like this, and men served the woman, were supposed to have, according to etiquette, right? In fact, when you had this mud puddle along the curb, right? What is the man supposed to do? He's supposed to take off his coat and put that in the mud. Now, I know women, you know, don't you dare put that coat in the mud because it's going to get dirty and I have to wash it. Right? Or I remember when you're crossing the street, the man is supposed to be on the side that the traffic is coming, so he's supposed to be there, and the woman's supposed to be on his right, so that if he gets hit, he can push the woman aside and protect her. And then when you cross the halfway mark, you're supposed to switch sides, so the car's coming this way now, and you're supposed to have the woman on this side. How many of you remember that etiquette? Okay. Do men do that anymore today? Huh? What's that?
No, they shove it to the traffic.
They shove it to the traffic when you get hit. So what has happened? And you see, women, maybe you're to be blamed because it used to be that men used to do these things. And if you want men to do these things, you have to allow them to. And you have to, you know, kind of, I mean, it's a changing, like, culture, you know, and I don't know what it is, how you can get your husbands to do what you want them to do, but it's not by trying to assert authority. It's by actually being humble and serving your husband. And I've heard some people, you know, they say, well, my husband did this, my husband did that, and you know, they complain. And so there's two sides of the coin though, right? Husbands, you need to love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her and serve her, really. You know, the people like to use that Ephesians, the 5th chapter, where it says, wives, be subject to your husbands as Lord, for the husband is head of the wife as Christ is the head of the church, he himself being the Savior of the body. But what's the verse that say, come right before that? It says, submit yourselves to each other